If you want to build a successful IT service business, you need to pay close attention to these three main aspects of running your team and managing your projects. Let's go. Hi, my name is Olga, and on this channel we discuss everything related to IT businesses and IT careers. So if you're interested, make sure to subscribe and click the bell icon to be here on time each Wednesday. I release a new episode each week, so be sure to be here on time for new amazing content. Straight into the topic, how to make your IT service business successful. You should pay attention to the communication part, to the project management part, and to the tools you're using in your work. Let's dwell a little on the communication part. Here you might face with numerous issues that might ruin your projects, your relationship with the clients, and your business. From my experience during my IT outsourcing career, I have met with three major issues that prevented companies either from growing or from building a successful and trustworthy relationship with the customers. The first one is language barrier. It's true that we are working now in a distributed environment where the customers might be at the other side of the world and where your team members might actually be from different countries and different parts of the world. And of course, it's a rare thing that your team members and your customer are speaking the same language. Now, by default, the English language is considered to be an international language for IT distributed teams. So when you hire team members to your team, especially if you're planning to make those team members your key players, make sure they're speaking a good English, that their English level is good enough to communicate efficiently with the customer, and not only, making reports to the customer, but also in case you need it to prove their point of view to the customer, maybe even argue with the customer if that team member understands that the technology that they are using are better in this case, and so on. So the grasp of language should be, if not stellar, then good enough to communicate clearly so that both sides understand each other. From my experience, I have met with numerous situations, when a stellar candidate that could have done the job in the best way possible just wasn't chosen by the customer because they could not communicate efficiently with each other. So your hard skills are not enough. You need to make sure your language skills are at the appropriate level and the language skills of all of your team members. The second issue in communication that you might face with is issues within the team. And this is very frustrating because this is something that you as an owner, as a CEO of your company, could have prevented and should have prevented in the first place. And this is actually where the customers might not even be aware of what is happening inside the team and why their project is not delivered on time and why there are some issues on the projects, and the issues within the team, between the team members might be crucial in terms of delivering the product or the project at the required time. Don't let these situations happen, because your clients should not suffer because you could not establish the right type of relationships inside your team. Now, from my point of view, in my team, I have a 3-step interviewing process when I hire new team members to our team, and I make sure on the very first step, I make sure that the person that I'm hiring is actually adequate and that they won't have any issues with the rest of the team. Those issues might be numerous. It might be issues based on the nationality. It might be issues based on the language they speak. It might be issues all sorts of issues, even racist issues, and I have met with this as well. So make sure that the team member that you're bringing to your existing team will suit the atmosphere in your team and the general air of your team, and that no future issues will arise. Now, the third issue that might put your project with the customer to danger is differences in mentalities between your team members, your key team members, and your customer. Now, the language might not be the issue. Your team might speak English fluently and perfect, and so will the customer. And it's seemingly that there are no problems, but there might be actually. And I want to bring two examples here. Both are different. So the first example is Eastern European developers. Now my team is half Russian and half Ukrainian, and we also have some people in Poland with whom we work, and the differences in mentalities are significant. Eastern European developers will tell you that you are wrong right into your face. No false flattery, just tough love, baby. And this might seem plain rough and plain rude to the customers from the Western Europe or from the States. This direct approach, this straightforwardness might be regarded as rudeness, so make sure that this doesn't happen. And another example is developers from other countries, from Asian countries. To them, the customer is always right, and the customer might not even be aware of the problems that are already existing on the project and why what is happening. So there is a lack of transparency. Both issues could be overcome with the right project management, and this is where we dwell from the communication part to the project management part. Now, speaking about project management, I want to dive into the specifics of how you actually run your projects, whether you use agile methodology or waterfall methodology. We typically use agile, so I cannot even compare this to. What I want to talk about is the communication part in the project management, and this is where you should control each aspect of how the project is run. So these are deadlines, these are methods of communication by which your team members are communicating with the customer if the project is requiring from your team to be communicating with the customer, and so on. So you should make sure that if the deadlines are meant to be broken, you should be the one communicating this part to the customer. Of course, if you have a separate project manager on your project or working with the customers, you might delegate this task to them, but I would strongly recommend you overseeing this part so that when the negative news are being broken, they are broken in the softest way possible. If you run an all-staff company where you actually don't do any project management, you're a lucky person, because the project management is done on the customer side, and this is a perfect situation where you should actually do nothing but control the general processes, but you should still be on track on what is happening inside your team and on the project. Now, the third aspect of you running a successful IT service business is which tools you are using. Now, we'll start with the project management tools, and I have done a video about comparing two major project management tools, major in my opinion. Make sure to check out that video of mine where I compare Jira and U-Track. For you, it might be Monday, it might be Asana even, it might be Team Gantt and so on, even Trello, you know. If you're short in a budget, it might even be Trello. But it really is crucial which project management tool you are using, especially if you're planning to work via Scrum, and if you're planning to have sprints, then choosing the right software is a must. And especially if you're working with your customers on an hourly basis, then you should also integrate a time tracking tool into your project management tool. I won't dwell much on these topics because I have already covered them in that video of mine. Make sure to check them out after this one. And I want to also dwell a little on the communication tools that you are using. Now, there are plenty. Nowadays, you have all sorts of messengers, but the key messengers are still Skype, Slack for Teams, Telegram, even WhatsApp. Now, which tools you are using, it really depends. It's really up to you. There is no one better than the other. Most software development teams are using Slack, but Slack, in a free version, it has a limit on how long it stores your information. And when you want to check up on what you are saying or some details, and you find that they are lost, you will be frustrated. So in my team, we typically use Skype for inner team communication, and with the customers we use communication tool that according to their preferences. It might be Telegram, it might be WhatsApp, it might be Slack, and so on. Now, of course, these aspects are not the only one you should pay close attention to. I have mentioned a lot of others in that video of mine and in this video of mine, and also in other videos on this channel, so make sure to binge watch them after this episode. Make sure to subscribe if you still haven't, and click the notification bell and the like button to help me grow this channel. Drop me a comment below on which aspects you want me to cover more. I would be happy to hear from you. Make sure to grab all the freebies you find below, and I will be waiting for you next Wednesday, same day, same time. I'll be waiting. Bye.